What is going on, everybody? It has been a long time since I've done a live stream. I think it was last week. I figured I'd come on here and talk about some of the news that's been going on in 49er land. It's a lot to talk about. Won't be on here too long, but I figured we just hit a couple of key topics that I thought might be interesting. So everybody knows what's going on in the world with COVID and all this stuff and all the protocols and everything. And I feel like COVID's hitting everybody kind of at the same time. My sister has it. A friend of mine's daughter has it. And I don't know if you guys saw the news about Raheem Mostert. His son is in the hospital with 103 fever and now has COVID. So a lot of things going on that kind of make football and sports kind of inconsequential and unimportant for sure. So all I got to say, whatever side of the fence you're on, I hope everybody's healthy and safe and do whatever they can to keep their family healthy. That's all I really got. I'm not here to preach. It's just it's a crazy time we're living in for sure. What's going on, chat? How is everybody doing? Thank you for popping in here to join me so I'm not lonely. So, of course, the big topic going into the game this Sunday is, of course, who's going to start. Plenty of 49er YouTubers have been on today, and everybody's kind of hitting the same nail on the head. So I'm going to be no different. The question that everybody's asking is who plays, right? Does Jimmy play because he has more experience? And, with it being a win or go home type game, you put your best player in there. Or does Trey start and build off of what he did in the last game? A lot of it has to do with the injury. Jimmy's been practicing the last couple of days. I really don't know what to make of that. I don't know what you guys think. I don't know if they're trying to push a narrative or, give the Rams something to think about. But, like Karthik is saying in the chat, he's been practicing the last couple of days. So personally, I don't know what to make of it. We're going to find out the closer we get to game day. There's two sides of thinking to this. There's a lot of people who want to see the kid keep playing and start, and regardless of what happens, you put the kid in there and you go from there. And then there's a whole other line of people that think that if Jimmy's healthy, Jimmy starts just because of his experience and his time with the team and the amount of years he's put in and experience you put him in, and you go from there. And I kind of lean towards that more, which is crazy because, as you guys know, I am not a staunch Jimmy Garoppolo supporter at all. However, it's a lot to ask a rookie going into this last game of the season. So it comes down to health. If Jimmy can play through it and he's healthy enough and his pain doesn't impede him on the field, I'm going to lose probably some people who watch my channel, but they're going to probably be like, Aaron, no way. I'd say start Jimmy. I really don't know, guys. I really don't know what to say. This has been beaten to death. Everybody has an opinion on it. Every 49ers YouTube has an opinion on it. Some people within the media will bring up all of Jimmy's statistics and all the things that he's done and the wins and all that. You got to throw all that out the window. It really just comes down to who gives you the best chance to win when 100% healthy, and whose experience lends itself to winning a playoff type game. Now, the argument could be made that Jimmy didn't play much in those playoff games and that the run game did it. And that's a fair criticism. Completely understand. So listen, I'm not a Jimmy guy. I'm a Trey guy, but I'm really just a 49ers guy in general. I just want the 49ers to win. So I'm not here to bash Jimmy Garoppolo, and I'm not here to sing almighty praises of Trey Lance either. It's kind of in the middle for both of them. Karthik in the comments saying prayers up for Mostert. Yeah, definitely want to keep people. I've had a lot of people in my prayers the last couple nights, and I do pray for anybody who cares. I got family members with COVID. I have friends, kids who have COVID. My mother's 67. She lives with me. So Whether you are on one side, like I said, or the other of the vaccination thing, that's none of my business, but it's there. So I will be getting a booster shot myself along with my mother at some point. So hopefully, we steer clear of it. I'm out of work right now, like I said, so I'm kind of actually probably insulating myself. But yeah, everybody stay safe and healthy. All of you guys and gals, no matter who you are or what side you believe. I don't want nothing to happen to anybody. So yeah, the point could be made that Jimmy's experience is nothing but nothing. Uh, Gary says Jimmy's experience is 8 years of what? Our running game pushed us to the playoffs and Super Bowl, and when he had the chance, he blew it. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's both sides of that, and and it's true because I was kind of saying that when the playoffs were happening that year, anyway. So I completely understand that and agree with that. They did pretty much rely on the run game. It's go watch the games. I mean, it's obvious that Jimmy was not in Kyle's good graces, but at the same time, this is a new year and it's a completely different situation. And no matter what happens, guys, someone's going to be second guessed, whether it's the Trey crowd or the Jimmy crowd or just fun Niner fans in general. If we blow this and don't get in, say we lost and the Saints win and we don't make the playoffs, I think we're better than the Saints, to be honest with you. But we blew that early in the year with how we played. So um, that's neither here or there. We had our chances early in the season and we blew it. So we're paying the price for not taking care of things when we needed to during the regular season. So, uh, as you guys know, with COVID, everything going on with it, there is a situation with the 49ers with their corners and their secondary. Uh, I think, what is it? The list now has Diamador Lenore, Ambry Thomas, uh, Dante Johnson, Jimmy Ward, and I'm probably missing somebody else, but yeah, pretty much the whole Niners secondary, other than Emmanuel Mosley and Josh Norman are on the COVID list. So yeah, things are not looking real good right now. The hope is that they'll all be cleared by game day and that we won't have to worry about it. But that's a crazy situation to be dealing with. Um, Out of all the things that could destroy the Niners season right at the end, it might be COVID. And it is what it is. These players' lives are more important than a game, but fact of the matter is that we've been pretty much clear of it all year. And the fact that it's going to get us right at the end, I mean, it's like a book being written. I mean, for the way that this year's been and how we've played and how we've been really good and really bad and inconsistent and all those things, the fact that COVID is happening right at the end of the year, it kind of just fits right in with the whole theme of this season. So it is what it is. You got to make chicken salad out of chicken, every once in a while in life. And the Niners are going to have to do that this Sunday somehow. We should probably find out by Saturday if any of these players have tested positive and if there's symptoms or if it's a situation where they're cleared to go, because the window is 10 days now to 5. I think I made a video about it. I don't know the exact specifics on how all this works, but they get tested again in another 5 days. And if they're good, I guess they're cleared to go. So hopefully that's the case with this secondary. I mean, it's already a secondary that has all sorts of issues, but we're going against a team that has an electric passing attack, regardless of what you think of the Rams and how we beat them. This is a new game, and it's a whole new deal. You can't worry about what happened in the past because that doesn't really matter. We got to worry about what's happening right now. And the fact of the matter is their receivers are really, really good, and our secondary might be in all sorts of dire straits. So hopefully that gets ironed out before that point of the week happens, and we can just worry about things as usual. But yeah, crazy situation with COVID. Yes, thank you, Karthik. Kwan Williams is also on the list. And Karthik, just subscribe and like my video. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Big West 49 says it doesn't matter who starts Jimmy or Trey. If Jimmy makes a mistake, where did I go? Your mistake. Kyle will pull him out. We are going to win, period. I hope you're right. I mean, if Jimmy comes out and he's not his normal self, which is, dink and dunk and being, efficient with those passes, then yeah, you're right. And you're right. We should go smash mouth, beast mode. That's what our offense is, right? We're really a run first team. If you guys think about it, we're not a pass team. We're a run first team. I think we're at our best when we jam the rock down the opponent's throat and we instill fear and dominance and we make them submit. That's when the Niners are at their best. Unfortunately, I don't know what's going on with Eli Mitchell. Eli Mitchell, apparently his knee is bothering him again. The Niners, when Elijah Mitchell plays, they don't seem to have any idea how to divvy up his carries and use other people to stop him from getting hurt, because he's been hurt a lot this year and his carries are pretty high considering the amount of games he's played. So you could say he's injury prone and fragile. And, that's a viable argument. But the fact of the matter is they've ran him into the ground. So I don't know. This is not a good time for this to be happening. But the fact of the matter is we have to go with what we have. I mean, we have Jeff Wilson Jr., we have JaMycal Hasty, Debo runs the ball. Hopefully he's good to go by the end of the week. I know Trent Williams hurt his elbow in last week's game. You could clearly see it on one of the plays. He was kind of shaking his arm. Kyle says that he's good to go, hopefully by the end of the week. Karthik says he re-injured his knee and was with an athletic trainer today at practice on the sidelines. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I didn't know about that. Mitchell, the new Mostert. Yeah. More ways than one, right? Really, really good and also really, really injured. So Gary Butler says we gonna push LA our run game smash mouth like our 80s and 90s. I love. Yeah, it's funny. The Niners play more throwback ball now than you realize. And we always own the Rams in the 80s and in the 90s. You're right. So hopefully that happens this Sunday and we can secure a playoff spot. I think the best way to go about this, guys, is just take care of our business and not worry about the other game. I'm confident that we can beat the Rams, but you can't lend any past things that have happened into the present. It just, because this is a new game and this game is big for both teams. One team's trying to win the division and the other team is just trying to get into the playoffs. So the Niners could blow their load in this game and be, empty in the playoffs. So when you don't take care of business early on in the year and you screw around and you lose games you should win, and you commit turnovers and your special teams play is horrible. And it's just, you lose to teams you shouldn't, or you're up on teams that you should beat, like the Packers game and, the Seattle game, a game we should have won because they're really bad this year. When you don't take care of those kind of things, whatever happens at this point. I mean, you can't really be upset. Thanks for the shout out, Aaron. That's my nephew's name. You're in the family now. But, thanks a lot. It's a cool name. Aaron, that's where it's at. Karthik, we need pressure Stafford up the middle, contain the edges, and Stafford will fold. Yeah, I mean, we did a pretty good job. He got his yards a little bit in that last game, but most of them were to Cooper Kupp. I was listening to, I forgot who it was on the radio. I think it was Eric Crocker. And he was talking about how, you let one guy beat you, or you let one guy kind of get the ball, and then you kind of try to lock up other players on the offense. So if one player is getting all their stats and all their catches, but you're containing them otherwise, then that's what you do. So let Cooper Kupp do his thing and just trying to shut everything else down around it. You know what I mean? And if you listen to Eric Crocker on Lockdown 49ers from this past Wednesday, he kind of went into depth how you can do that schematically. I thought it was a really interesting Uh, Interesting way to explain how defenses can approach, and I think how the Niners actually approached the Rams the last time. So some guys are going to get their stuff, but it's a matter of what you do schematically around other players and kind of leave one man to kind of do all their work for them. And the Niners play a lot of zone and they try to keep a lot of stuff in front of them. And we'll see. It's going to be interesting. Do you man up or do you go zone, or do you hope the pass rush gets there and does its work? Let's hopefully find that out on Sunday. Hopefully the pass rush is there. Hope the coverage is there. Hope all the guys are healthy to go, and we can just kind of take care of business like we have in the past against the Rams. Karthik asked me, who do you think will be on Cooper Kupp on Sunday, Aaron? I would think E-Man. Well, no, depends. Could be K1. Depends on where he lines up. It's hard to say if K1 is actually playing, though. That's the question. I really don't know at this point, to be honest with you, Karthik, because we don't know who's playing. I would assume it would be K1 Williams because he lines up a lot in the slot, Cooper Kupp, but could be him, could be E-Man. I don't know. One of the two. You don't want to put him on Ambry Thomas. That would be, at this point, it'd be disastrous, even though I'm really high on the kid and I think he's getting better. I don't think that would be a favorable matchup for the kid at this point in his young career as a cornerback. It's a lot to ask. So, speaking of guys like Emmanuel Moseley, the practice window did open up for him and Sanu this week. No word on if they're going to play, though that still has not been decided. It would be a distinct advantage if we can get him back. We need everybody we can in the secondary that's any good going up against this Rams offense. So I'm sure we'll find out later in the week who's going and who's not. I could have sworn I saw a practice video with Dre Greenlaw out there as well. So hopefully we get some news on Dre Greenlaw during this week. Today's Thursday, so I would assume by tomorrow we're going to get a practice report of who's in and who's out, and we'll get our inactives for Sunday's game. I wonder how long they're going to hold off the Jimmy announcement, if they're going to hold that off till Saturday or even game day like they did last week. Kyle pretty much said he's in no rush to announce who it's going to be out of competitive advantage. So hopefully we'll find that out too. Yeah, so as far as the matchups go, Sunday we get in with a win, or we lose and the Saints lose, we get in as well. I think the Saints game was earlier and then they switched it. So we're both going to be playing at the same time, which kind of sucks. I would have loved to have known beforehand just so I could watch the game and relax. But I think the league did that on purpose to make both games actually mean something, and that both teams are playing for something at the same time, which if you're trying to make money in your product, I would guess that's the best thing to do. So yeah, they switched both games. To the later hour, I think they're both 4:00 starts. I think the Niners game might be, I'm trying to think here. I don't know if the Niners game is at 4:15. I'm not exactly sure if it's Pacific time or Eastern. I haven't checked, but we're going to find out one way or the other, guys, this Sunday. It's going to suck if we don't get in for sure. So I'm going to go back to the Elijah Mitchell situation. I just think the Elijah Mitchell is a big time difference maker on this offense. I think this offense runs at its best when Elijah Mitchell is in the game. He runs hard. He never goes down on the first hit. He's a forward falling type of guy. Kind of reminds me of a bigger Frank Gore. But unfortunately, the Niners don't know how to use him correctly to get it to where he's not taking all sorts of abuse. So, again, we're going to find out tomorrow. There should be a practice report, and we'll get some sort of info or news or whatever. And hopefully, he can make it a go. Whatever they got to do, if they got to tape him up, inject him, whatever. We really need him. He's really that valuable and that good on this team. So uh, I'm a very, very high on Elijah Mitchell. I know a lot of fans are. I mean, you got to think this was our last pick of the last year's draft, and he's as important to this offense as Debo and Kittle. So think about that. I just hope they can find a way to manage him in the future. I mean, you got Jeff Wilson Jr. there. I just don't understand how you can't figure out a way to divvy up carries so that one man is not taking so much abuse, but it is football. So, sorry, guys. Ooh. Hey, Aaron, you are exactly right on, my man. Don't underestimate the Lambs. I don't care how the game is going to be played. We are division rivals. It might be close, but I'll take the win. Yeah, that's the thing with division games. It's always like that, right? No matter who it is. You can see a team twice a year, every year. You could whoop on everybody else on your schedule. And for some reason, you hit a division game and it's like it goes completely different than the rest of your games go every year. I mean, look at the Niners with the Rams. We've owned them up until now. I'm not going to say anything about this Sunday, but we've pretty much owned them, right? In the Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch era of these last however many times we beat them. But then we can't beat Seattle ever. We can't beat them no matter what. No matter what state their team is in, how bad or how good they're doing, doesn't matter. We can't beat Seattle. So, yeah, division games are always a game within a game. Sometimes teams that know you really well and know your strengths and weaknesses, they play it twice a year, right? So they're going to know. And if you play them, if you have the same coaching staffs over the course of however many years and the same, core of players, you kind of know what to expect. So, Jimmy plays really well against the Rams, but then has all sorts of issues with Seattle. So it's just crazy. Aziz is the only player I don't think I saw at practice. Yeah, he's banged up this year. Uh, you wonder if they're going to offer him some sort of contract extension in this offseason. Both, I mean, with Greenlaw and him, I mean, Greenlaw's been more injured than everybody, but recently Aziz has been. But I think they're both valuable enough to bring back in some sort of way or extend. We're going to see, though. But we're not quite at that point in the offseason, so I won't worry about that. Karthik says the game is at 4:25 Eastern time. Thank you very, very much. You scored his first receiving TD last week, Mitchell did. Yeah, he's good he can catch the ball. I was very impressed. I mean, it was an easy route. It was like a swing route or whatever out of the backfield. Pretty simple. I realize Mitchell is good, Aaron, but it would never be. Yeah, yeah. It's with that type of injury. Uh, you either can go or you can't. You can't really tape up a knee, so to speak. A knee injury is kind of a different sort of animal than, say, like a contusion or something that you can pretty much, it's more pain tolerance than anything. So, yeah, definitely. I like being in a game like this with something being on the line. It will make them focus and play attention. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, neither of these teams were going into this game with nothing to play for. It would be kind of anticlimactic. It'd be kind of nice sometimes to rest players. You know what I mean? Going into the playoffs. It's been a long year. The Niners haven't had a bye week in, I don't know, 2 months or more, 2.5 months. So, but like I said, they did it to themselves by not playing their best brand of ball, and now they got to pay for it. There's a lot at stake here, and they know Kyle better put his best 22 out there. Exactly. No matter who it is, right? Um, my next point I wanted to get into is the pass rush. They've been playing really well the last couple weeks. Bosa hasn't really done much though, because teams really have focused on stopping Nick Bosa, no matter how they do it, whether it's max protect, chipping, whatever you can think of, they try to do. The first half of last week's game though was interesting because the Niners pass rush wasn't doing anything in the first half against the Texans, and then they came out in the next couple drives and were all over them. So um, a secondary's best friend is the pass rush. And this pass rush has been pretty damn good I would say the last 4 games or so. Guys like Arden Key, Samson Ebukam, DJ Jones has played really well. A guy that I'm not super high on has played really well in Eric Armstead. His last game, I don't know if you guys saw that highlight of him just completely bullying and pushing an offensive guard into the backfield, squishing the quarterback. Pretty impressive stuff. I mean, he is a large man, 6'7". So it's important that they get off fast in this game. Stafford is one of those guys where he's like really hot and cold sometimes. Uh, has a lot of gaudy numbers. Is pretty damn nice looking, throws. He's got a nice arm. He makes some pretty impressive throws, but he also throws it to the other team. The knock on him is he's not a big game quarterback. Jimmy Ward made it a point of saying something about that in the offseason about he might be on a different team, but he's still the same Matt Stafford. And you see that in him. He's kind of like that lower tier quarterback when it comes to pressure and being elite. He's the next rung down. So the Niners would be foolish to not try to get after him in this game as much as possible, maybe blitz a little bit. The Niners are doing a lot of it with their front four, but they do blitz somewhat. So will be interesting. Are you worried about our DBs on the COVID reserve list? Absolutely, I am. We're going to find out Friday or Saturday if they're going to come back. Kyle seems to be optimistic. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how the severity of everybody is. We'll see. Mitch, I am. Yes, I am worried. I feel like it's important that we have who we have, even if they're not that good, because say what you want about the Rams. Sorry, my camera shook. Say what you want about the Rams, but they can throw the ball around the yard with anybody. Stafford is who he is, like I just mentioned. But the fact of it is they can hit you from anywhere at any time. Fred Warner made a point that he said if the Niners don't bring their A game, they could get embarrassed by the Rams. So they're aware of how dangerous they are in the passing game. They're in their place. I don't know how well the Niners fans are going to travel this game. I know that we tend to travel very well down there, but this is a big game, and I would assume their fans are going to try to fill up that park and stop us from being in there. This is as big of a game as it's going to be. My boy Peo Times in the chat here. He is a Rams YouTuber, one of the best guys you'll ever meet. Doesn't talk trash, isn't bombastic or anything. He's just a fun, loving, awesome dude, super supportive. I have few YouTubers of other teams that are my subscribers that I actually interact with, but he is one of them, and he's great. Definitely look forward to doing some stuff in the off season with him. We'll probably talk about, the division and teams' needs and what these teams need to do to get better kind of stuff. A lot of spitballing goes on in the off season where we talk about all sorts of stuff. So, but hopefully, I hate to say this, hopefully we win because the Rams are in already. So hopefully we can get a win against the Rams. It's going to be tough. It's in their place. It's for everything. They're trying to get the division. We're trying to do our part to get in the playoffs. So a lot of pressure on the team to do well in this game and continue their, quote unquote dominance against the Rams. But like I said, it's a division game. Every game's different. What we've done in the past ain't going to matter this Sunday. It has no bearing. It really doesn't. we could kick their ass, five of the last 5 times, and then we come in this game and we get boat race. So hopefully we play well and we win. Or we're going to have to depend on another team to get us in there, which I think is a bad look, and it kind of sets a bad precedent for us going into the playoffs. I appreciate that, by the way, Peo. You're my kind of friend too. Peo says, I am stoked for this game, but this week is going to be slow. Haha. It's going by slow. Yeah, it definitely is. Football games take a lot out of me, though, Peo. You know me, I get stressed. So sometimes I like the gap in between them. Kind of lets my mind refresh. Amazing. Assuming Trey starts and if he loses, is there any risk of messing with him psychologically? And no, I think he's pretty strong mentally. Sometimes I get a little upset because I feel like he's too relaxed. I don't know if you guys watch games, you see what I mean. His demeanor, he's just kind of laissez-faire. Not that he doesn't care. I'm not saying that. I think he's a pretty strong-minded individual. You lose games in sports if he's that weak-minded. Mitch, that would be kind of sad. They say happens. It happens in sports. He might, he could have a clunker if he plays. He's going to have clunkers in the future. It's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows. I mean, look at the quarterbacks this year that have played. Look at Trevor Lawrence. He hasn't played that great this year. Look at Zach Wilson. Look at Justin Fields. Mac Jones is in a different situation. He was the most pro ready. He's in one of the best situations with probably the greatest coach of all time, with a great offensive coordinator. So you can't really compare. But the rest of these guys are pretty much right there with Trey. So if Trey plays bad, and he does play this Sunday, I personally am not going to be discouraged going forward. I don't think he should be either, because he's the future of this team, and he's so young. He has so much room for growth. So no, I really don't. I'm not really too concerned about it, Mitch. Peo says, I'm happy, really, really happy Cam Akers is coming back in this game. Yeah, I'm not. Exactly. You don't have to be a fan of the 49ers. Just respect the game. And people who want to come on this channel don't have to be 49er fans. If you just want to be a fan of the NFL, by all means, come on. I would love to open things up in the future once my personal situation is better and I'm able to stream more. I would definitely like to do more of a roundtable with a lot of guys, and we could all speak of our teams and have some sort of direction with it. But with the season ending right now, it's so everything's for the marble. So yeah, but I definitely I would be cool with everybody coming on. Do a division crossover with 3 other different YouTubers, and we could all talk about it. Who on the Niners do you think would be the best at chess? Kyle Juszczyk. I think he's a Harvard grad, or he's an Ivy Leaguer. Pale. So I'm going to go with Kyle Juszczyk. He's probably the smartest, and I'm a heterosexual. He's probably the smartest and probably one of the better looking guys on the team. Kind of got it all going for him. Makes a good amount of money. So, yeah, if I had to go with anybody, it would probably be him. Honestly. Interesting question, by the way. If you look at Jimmy, he looks like an old grandpa sweating through his helmet. Yeah. What's up with his gray hair already? He's younger than me. I mean, I'm a redhead, but besides that, dude is middle-aged looking already. I mean, good thing he's a handsome dude. Otherwise, he'd. Ugh. So I figure we get into one of my last topics, and my thought is that unlike last game, because Trey was starting and he was, he's a young guy and he's inexperienced or whatever. I think the 2 things that the Niners need to really establish in this game, regardless of the quarterback, is getting the ball to the playmakers. So I'm hoping they can get Kittle more involved in this game for sure. I'd like to see Debo get involved in the passing game as well. He's had some games recently where he hasn't gotten many receptions. They've used him mostly as a running back. I'd like to see him get the ball in the passing game as well. Uh, Niners have a great core of young talent, and they need to use those guys. They're kind of littered across that offense with Ayuk and Debo and Kittle and Elijah Mitchell when he's healthy. So I'd like to see the 49ers get those guys involved early and often. I just think the Niners are so physical and so dominating when they get moving that a good way to kind of get a defense on its heels is to really get the ball to your most physical players and kind of set the tone for what is potentially your most important game of the season. So hopefully the Niners can get those guys involved in this game early and often. Not rely so much on the run game. The run game is safe. It keeps turnovers down. You run clock, you keep the defense off the field, but your playmakers need to get involved. They shouldn't be there just for window dressing all the time. I understand Kittle's a great blocker. Debo's a great blocker. Juwan Jennings is a great blocker, and that's great. And I know the Niners are a run-first team, but I do think they need to get certain guys involved. You got to really make the defense sweat and really make them think and be stressed and not be so one-dimensional sometimes. Kyle Shanahan sometimes can be kind of predictable, and the best way to not be predictable is to just be varied in the way you come out of things. Come out of the game and start passing right away. Whatever it takes. This is a division game. They know all your tricks. They know how everything works. So, I don't know. Come out and be completely different, or just come out and bust them in the mouth and hopefully they quit. We have the guys to do it, but it's just a matter of Kyle Shanahan kind of not overthinking everything and just calling his best game. He needs to call his best game this Sunday, and the special teams needs to play well, whether it's kickoffs, kick returns, punt returns. Everybody's got to play well. No self-inflicted wounds with turnovers and things of that nature. I mean, the Niners they've been so hot and cold this year with being really good one game, really good in special teams. I mean, the special teams has been pretty bad all year, and then another game they come out and they completely lose the game based on their own mistakes. It has nothing to do with the opponent it has done. It has all to do with the Niners' self-inflicted wounds. So hopefully the Niners can come out in this game and assume and, put their dominance in full effect and put the pedal to the metal and get this game, early. Because I feel like if you keep the Rams in this game late, it's a recipe for success because they can hit you from anywhere at any time. And the Niners pretty much have to start this game as aggressive as possible and kind of dictate the pace. Keep the Rams off the field as much as possible. Be varied in your sets, be varied in your fronts on defense. I mean, just you got to bring your best both sides of the ball. So hopefully they can do that. Cover 2 defense and mix in some blitz. Yeah, especially with the receivers that they have. The Niners, with Ambry as their quarterback, they've been doing a lot with their safeties to kind of protect him. So, you have your safeties there. They can help you double or stay over the top of anything that's happening. The Niners, you need to be, like I said, you need to be varied in their fronts. Don't be completely one-dimensional. Give them some man-to-man, a little blitzing here and there. Try to get pressure with your front four as well. I mean, that's what the Niners kind of depend on that so that they can put as many guys into coverage and kind of force turnovers, which is something we really haven't done this year. But keep as many men in the secondary as you can and try to rush with your front four. Hopefully Bosa can get some pressure in this game, whether it means he has to move inside or switch sides or whatever he has to do. Hopefully we can figure out a way to get Bosa in that backfield and get that Niners pass rush moving. So my last question to you guys before I get out of here is, if you had to rate this season, Um, when it's all said and done, uh, regardless of where it ends, what would be the story of this year? What's the overarching theme? To me, this has been a year of almost and self-inflicted wounds that have cost this team dearly. And say the season ends this Sunday. I mean, that's really what you got to look at. Um, this is going to be also a season where many people are going to second guess Kyle Shanahan and his dealing and his handling of the quarterback position and whether Trey Lance should have started. And the way I look at it is everything is always second guessed. Hindsight is 2020. But the one thing I will say about this season, if it ends, uh, after this Sunday, is the Niners did this all to themselves. They put themselves in this position to have to win it out in order to get into the playoffs. So I think the story of the 2021 season is a season of just self-inflicted wounds and blame. It's got to be all the blame's got to go internally on the players. Uh, you can blame Kyle Shanahan too for like I said, not doing the right thing with the quarterback situation. So that's kind of the theme of this year, regardless of how it ends. And I, you know, my aspirations and my thoughts on this season before it started is that we had a Super Bowl caliber team. Uh, but I was kind of mistaken because we put so much pressure on having injury prone guys as like our starters, guys like Verrett, guys like Raheem Mostert and things like that. So um, I think going into next year, we really have to figure out a way to kind of move on from the injury prone guys, you know, solidify our roster with healthy, guys that don't have injury history. And if we're going to sign someone with, say, a Verrett type situation or a Mostert type situation, they should be extra. They should be depth. They shouldn't be the actual starter or someone you have to depend on the roster. They should be an added piece to the puzzle. So that's another mistake I think the Niners made this year is they kind of went into this year thinking, you know, um, we had one good year with Verrett, and we're counting on it to happen, and not having any other plans besides that. With Mostert, we got lucky because uh, we had Elijah Mitchell. But what if we didn't have Elijah Mitchell? Then what? So uh, my biggest takeaway from this season is the Niners, as players and as coaches, really, if they're going to blame anybody, they need to blame themselves. And from a front office evaluation, really look at how you're building this team going forward as far as picking the right guys, really putting emphasis on medicals and injury history, and really start to kind of move away from that line of thinking and thinking things are going to be different with your team and how you construct it. And it's not. Injury prone guys are injury prone for a reason. So let's move away from that. Do you think Jimmy will take a pay cut and back up? No, I'm not even. I won't even finish this one. No, Jimmy wants all the money. If he ever did, Karthik, I would be shocked. But I just think that would undermine Trey if he was here next year. I, I I feel like you can get a guy like there's other backups you can get around the league to back up Trey Lance. Get somebody like I'm trying to think of the guy who started on the Texans this year before he was benched. The little scrappy run around quarterback that I can't think of his name right now, Tyrod Taylor. He'd be a good backup, someone similar, kind of athletic. Uh, or I don't know, I don't know who the backup quarterbacks are there out on the market. I don't know if Fitzpatrick is out there, if he'd be viable. He would be a good backup, but like I said, you don't want to undermine the rookie. Big West says, Aaron, Josh Norman is pure clown. Keep Dante Johnson out there, and I'll take my. No, I agree with you on that. I can get down with that. I 100% agree on that one. When Jimmy starts and the Saints game ends sooner than ours and they lose, would you like to see him pulled and avoid? Yes. Yes. Let the kid play. Let him get experience. Totally. Totally, totally, totally. 100% agree on that. Yeah, let the kid play. If there's no reason for Jimmy to be out there, then yeah, let Trey Lance go. Let him get his licks. Like I said, he as happy as I was and encouraged as I was by the last game. Trey's going to take his lumps, man. It's common. We're going to see some stuff next year, and we're going to be like, oh man, I wish Jimmy was still here, or at least some of us will. I won't say that. Um, I mean, if he would have played this year and he would have got his experience, then that would have been great. But I understand why the Niners decided to not start him this year. I understand what their thinking was. I just think they thought wrong. I think they overestimated this roster and the players on it and their health and what they thought was going to happen. And this team was 2 injuries away from completely just not being the same team. Once we lost Mostert and once we lost Jason Barrett, it completely changed everything on this team. If you went based on that, say you had E-Man on one side and you had Verrett on the other side, and you have our safeties and you have Greenlaw and Azeez Al-Shaair in the defensive line, yeah, we look pretty damn good. You take a couple of those pieces away out of there, and all of a sudden it's a different team. As much as you want to depend on the pass rush and make them all what the defense is all about, kind of build out from that, you still need decent players in the secondary. Like I like Emmanuel Mosley. I think he's a good player. Is he an elite corner? No. But he's good enough to get the job done. You got to surround him. The Niners, with the money they save if they move on from Garoppolo, the Niners really have to invest in a starting cornerback and make that their focus in free agency and use the draft to kind of rebolster their pass rush, maybe offensive line. You know, they're going to have a little money with Jimmy leaving. I think it'll be around 35 million, something like that, between 35 and 40 million. So they have a lot of players to re-sign. This roster is going to look a lot different next year because there's going to be a lot of people not coming back. They have to make a decision on Jaquiski Tartt if he comes back. I've been iffy on him in the past, but man, when he didn't play and they had the other safeties out there, what a difference. As you know, there's YouTubers out there that say that Jimmy Ward sucks, which I don't understand what that's all about. He does not suck. Again, he's had his injury issues, but he is one of the most what's the word? He can play anywhere. He could play the slot. He could play corner. He could play safety. So to say a player sucks just because you don't think he's that good and you have no informative information to tell people why he actually sucks, it's just a personal feeling. Which that's just dumb. I really believe if they would have started as okay, hold on. I really believe if Trey would have started the season off, he would have given us a better chance of getting their look at Mac Jones. I'm just saying. Wait, what? What do you mean? I'm trying to figure out what you're saying. YouTube coaches, exactly. I never claimed to know anything about the game, but when people just come out with like a cemented view on something, but they can't give you any reason why they don't like the person, they just don't like them for some reason. But then you watch the film and you see how many positions this guy can play. Yeah, he might not be great at any of them, but he's really good. So yeah, definitely YouTube coaches. He's mentally tough. No reason to worry about him in the seasons to come. Exactly. Yeah, I get the same thing. I get the same thing about Trey. I just think he's mentally tough, and I'm not really worried too much about his psychological effect if he was to play this game and you know suck. It's gonna happen. What's this? I got to see this. I've never met a Jimmy G fan in person. I'm convinced it's a cop. Yeah, they're a little squirrely. Um, I made a comment about a lot of them being women, but and a female was quick to correct me. She says there's more men fans of Jimmy that defend him than women, and you know what? I have to agree with that. Like it's dead. That's dead honest truth. There is more more men fans that will freaking come to Jimmy's defense and throw all sorts of stats out at you about how he wins and how he wins, and that's all they can can't say is how he wins. Um, and yeah, some women like him mostly because he looks good and all that stuff. But it's pretty crazy. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Colin Coward either. He really gets under my skin, to be honest with you. Rondo Sports. Hey, I ain't gonna trash Rondo. He's a super successful YouTube personality, but I completely am on the other side of the Jimmy argument with him, and it's pointless to argue with him. Plus, I don't want his followers coming over here and gutting after a small uh, YouTube channel like mine. He's got like I don't know however many subscribers. I only got like 3,300 or something. So I can't really talk no mess about him. I'm not in the trashing of other YouTubers, anyways. Like some people who want to get cred for crapping on people. Everybody has their own channel. They do things their own way. But yeah, I don't mind Rambo. I just don't agree with him on the Jimmy thing. And I've learned to not get angry at other people's opinions because in the end, they're just opinions. They're not fact. They're not what's the word? I'm trying to think of the word, but it's just an opinion, and you really can't get overly mad for it. Linda chiming in, she says there is no negative testing required for COVID now. You're back in 5 days if asymptomatic or symptoms have improved. Cool. Thank you, Linda. Appreciate that very, very much. See, I'm not smart when it comes to that kind of stuff, so I appreciate the comment. Thank you very much. Um, oh, sorry. Who do you think is the strongest player on the defense besides the defensive lineman? Strongest player physically or strongest as in skill? Uh, Physically, I would say physically, I would say offensive lineman if you're going to go with based on just physicality. Physically, yeah. I mean, the offensive line and defensive linemen are the strongest for sure. Yeah. I mean, linebackers are good, but they're like 235, 240. These offensive linemen weigh, 290 plus. Look at Trent. You guys need to go. Somebody needs to either make or has made a highlight reel of Trent Williams pancaking and destroying people this year. I saw a highlight probably about 2 months ago where you see like a defensive back or a linebacker come into the screen. Trent hits him and he literally rolls out of the screen. I mean, my dad was a big, strong guy, but he ain't got nothing on Trent Williams. That's one of those. If you're a player and somebody does that to you, you take off your equipment like Antonio Brown and you say peace, because that would humble me. My bad, Aaron. I'm saying the Patriots started Mac Jones this year, and he's having a really great season. The 49ers. Yeah, I know. Big West. I agree. Like I said, hindsight's 2020, but I think the Niners really didn't think he was ready, and there's some credence to that. There's some truth that he's not ready ish. And but you got to think of what the Niners were looking at as far as what they thought of their team and camp healthy. I mean, they lost they lost Raheem Mostert and Verrett in the first game of the year. So uh, it changed a lot of things. But I think the Niners just looked at their roster and they looked at their quarterbacks as a strength that they had two, and they were going to go with the guy that gave them the best chance to win it in the now. But yeah, you can look back and say, I wish he would have played. And I agree because he's going to be behind. Then again, he might surprise us next year and just look fantastic, and all that experience stuff will just go out the window. So we'll see. I've heard a lot of people saying Warner is not that jacked. I really thought he was built. No, he's definitely of a smaller, speedier linebacker. I mean, you guys remember the uh, Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis, just how big they were. But it's just not like that anymore. It's all about speed. Not that they weren't fast, but yeah, those guys were monsters back there. But I mean, look at both of their careers. They were both short. They played super physical. They were both really jacked, and they neither of them played 10 years. So being big doesn't always mean a whole lot of anything. Fred Warner's been pretty damn healthy considering, even though he's not a really big guy. So um, we'll see. We'll see. Size doesn't always matter. It does sometimes, but not always. Don't you guys worry our 49ers are in good don't you guys worry our 49ers are in good hands in the future? I trust so do I. I was talking to I think I was on Rob Shue's channel, which he's a really good YouTuber, so go check him out. Rob's one of the best. Um, he I made a point to say that, for everything that we've kind of been negative about this year, if you look at the Niners going forward into next year, if they can kind of keep this roster somewhat similar, you know, linebacker is going to be strong. Defensive line looks like it's in good hands. If we can keep our safeties, uh, our offense has some good players on it. This team is got some pretty damn good talent. And then you put Trey into the mix, and he looks promising, even though it's only one game. I think I think we're going to be all right. And I'm always the glass half empty type of guy, but I'm definitely changing my mindset and going with the glass half filled type of mindset. It's hard for me, but I think this team is going to be all right going forward. They just got to, like I said, reassess the way that they look at players with injury histories, and reassess some other things going into next season. Maybe splash some money and throw some money at a cornerback in the market who's available, even though there are a lot of them are going to be kind of old. Um, but even if you have to sign an old veteran, he's only a stopgap. I mean, if your young guys end up developing, then you don't have to worry about it. So uh, he's not little. He's 6'3", 230. Yeah, I'm 6'3", 245. So yeah, that's definitely not little. It's just compared to the older style linebackers like Ray Lewis and guys like that. They were just bigger. But like I said, it doesn't always matter because look how short the careers of both Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis were. So, like I said, it doesn't really matter in the end. Warner was a safety at BYU. He had to build back the muscle to be linebacker. Yeah. There was I remember Larry Kruger, who I've had on my channel before, not being a big fan of Warner coming out of college. He didn't think he was going to be all that great. And Larry ended up eating his words and saying that he was completely wrong on the Fred Warner situation, and that Fred's, he might be having a down year this year, but he's still probably one of the best middle linebackers in the NFL. As good as Aziz as a player, I feel like we could upgrade. Yeah, you can always upgrade, but it's just that, you got to put your money. The Niners need to put a little bit of money in certain areas this year, and you know you can't have every position maxed out with all the best, highest played guys. I really think they need to address their cornerback situation big time. Uh, I feel like they've ignored it for years, and it's caught up to them. So uh, spend a little money, like I said, even if it's an older guy for like a couple seasons, and he can kind of be there to be a mentor to all your young corners that you're going to have with Demi Amador Lenore and Embry Thomas. But we'll see. Bottom line, we control our own destiny. Exactly. Dre is undersized and always hurt. I agree on that one. I'm a big Dre Greenlaw fan, but yeah, he's always hurt. Always. You can always find quality linebackers in late rounds in the draft. Yes, you can. You can even find them undrafted, as the Niners can attest to with Aziz Al-Shaair. So, even Flanagan Fowles isn't too bad. I mean, he's not great, but Ambry Thomas has impressed me as the season has gone on. I think he can turn into something. So do I. Just got to be patient with him, man. He needs to get stronger this offseason. He needs to put some weight on. He needs to get in the weight room. He's weak, he's not physical. He's there a lot of times at the point of attack. He just gets out muscled. So, like I said, I listened to Eric Crocker and um, Brian Peacock on Locked On 49ers, and they said that he's just got to get in the weight room and get more physical this offseason. That's really what he needs to do. But yeah, I'm really high on him too. He Look at all the guys he's had to cover, though. I mean, he's had to cover some of the best in the league. So yeah, there's always a way to improve any great NFL team. Exactly. But let's worry about this Sunday, guys. Hopefully we don't have to worry about the offseason for another couple of weeks. But that's going to do it for me. Thanks for popping on here with me, guys. I'm a little rusty with the YouTube thing. I haven't done it a lot in the past month, so kind of all over the place with my thoughts. And I need to start being more, topic by topic and kind of keeping things structured. So appreciate you guys being in here with me and dealing with my erraticness. Should be getting it on hopefully this week with either, I'm going to see if Jay in the Bay wants to do something, or maybe Rob Shue again. Maybe early next week. So I'll keep you guys posted. I might do a post-game reaction depending on what happens with the Niners on Sunday. So stay tuned for that. Everybody stay healthy, guys and gals, with this whole COVID situation. Like I said, regardless of what side of the fence you're on, it's crazy out there right now. So I don't want anybody hurt or sick or dead for that matter. So everybody stay safe and healthy. Much love to everyone. Thanks for the support and making a really nervous guy who hasn't done this in a while feel good. And I'll see you guys on the flip side. Take care, everybody.